All right, guys, I'm here. All right. Good morning. All right, guys. So today we have the ADP non-farm employment data coming out. We have ADP data going live. We have the Jolts report at 10 a.m. It's a delayed Jolts report, but it's something here. Bitcoin just popped right now. Look at 90.5. So look at this candle. So Bitcoin jumping up a little bit here. Let me see if I can figure out why. We got Campbell Soups dropping earnings. Again, the president said a couple minutes ago that rate cuts are basically a requirement for the next Fed chairman. And so this is something that we were saying yesterday, is that he's going to want a dovish Fed chairman. And like whoever he brings in is going to be more dovish. I think Hassett's going to be more dovish. There's Campbell Soup earnings right there. I need to drink some coffee, bro. Every day I wake up, it's like, I get up. I went to bed at like 11, and then I woke up at like 5 a.m. So I didn't quite get enough sleep. And then I tried to go back to sleep, but then it was too close to when I'd have to wake up, and so I couldn't really go back to sleep. And now I'm here. I gotta drink some coffee. We also had China come out basically saying they're still going to restrict chips, even if we unlock them here, but they're still going to restrict chips. I saw this earlier this morning. We got Jack Mallers, 21 Capital, going live on the New York Stock Exchange. It will be the third largest public Bitcoin company with 43.5 thousand Bitcoin, worth about $4 billion. That news is circulating. Yeah, so China is set to limit access to Nvidia's H200 chips, even though the president's export approval, according to Financial Times. Buyers are going to be required to go through an approval process, submitting requests to purchase and explain why domestic providers were unable to meet their needs. Right, so there's still going to be restrictions and limited access on Nvidia's H200 chips there in China. So, but Nasdaq is up. Nvidia rebounded yesterday, up to 187s here. So Nvidia popped all the way back up to 190s and before dipping back down to where it's at now, around 187s. Bitcoin still pushing up a little bit. It's at 90.5K. You can kind of see the SPY here. 684s. Nasdaq at 25,664s. We had Paramount CEO on Netflix deal with Warner Bros. Says there's an inherent bias against the US, according to CNBC. Also, we have ADP. We have ADP prelim weekly report going live at 8:15 Eastern time. ADP's prelim report going live at 8:15. I'll put a timer up. All right, so the ADP report is going to be in about an hour, about 55 minutes. But Bitcoin is rising here, guys. There's the timer for ADP's numbers. Bitcoin up to 90.6 thousand. Take a look at yields this morning. Yields are still pretty elevated. They're at 4.16, almost 4.17%. Higher than they were yesterday when I looked at them again. And you can kind of see yields have just been climbing up last few days, although they are down. They spiked yesterday up to almost 4.2%. Look at them. Here's 10-year treasuries. Again, they're at 4.16 now. A little bit lower than their peak yesterday, but higher than they were yesterday morning when we last looked. We can take a look at the Fed Watch tool. Currently, we are priced in and still at around 90%. We're at 89.4% likely of a Fed rate cut tomorrow, which would be Wednesday this week. But we are at 90% likely. Yeah, I mean, look, there's still going to be restricted chips. And I mean, I think this is kind of obvious. There's still going to be restricted chips. But yeah. Because we're restricting our chips, right? So they're going to be restricting theirs. Or we're restricting our chips. And they're going to restrict people from buying ours as well. Yeah, I mean, I think there's enough restriction on both sides that it's understandable either way, to be honest. But again, Nvidia is still green on the day. It's at 187s here. I might short some markets if we get some good trades. Again, we got ADP numbers coming soon, though, so we got to be a little careful here. But China didn't need Nvidia GPUs. They wouldn't be outsourcing all AI dev work to neutral countries. Maybe. What's up, Sam? What's up, Bam Bam? What's up, Tanvir? What's up, H? What's up, Kim? Barnyard. What's up, Sergio? What's up, Yee? What's up, Gilbert? OG. Robert. AI. Marco. Joker. D. Tony. Doubt. Rico. Jim. BA. Todd. Keegan. Brian. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Yields are crap. Yeah. I don't know what price action is going to be after ADP's numbers here. The last few ADP reports have been a little delayed. So, see what they look like today. But the last ADP reports have been a little delayed. They've been weak as well. So they haven't been strong either. They've been weak reports. Dude, what's strange is like, I'm wondering how my lights are always like this. Ooh. Yeah, the president again said immediate rate cuts is a requirement for the next Fed chairman. AutoZone posted numbers. They posted better than expected sales, weaker than expected EPS for AutoZone. And it's been a while since I've actually like stepped foot inside an AutoZone. Been a while. Exxon expects to double production in the Permian Basin by 2030. And again, the big news I would think is China is set to limit Nvidia chips despite president's export approval, according to Financial Times. So now buyers are likely going to have to go through an approval process, submitting requests to purchase and explaining why they didn't choose domestic chips. Essentially is what's probably going to happen. So, and yeah, I mean, Nvidia popped up. It's at 187. It's right around the volume weighted average price, the 200 exponential. Bitcoin is rising. I can't really find any news on Bitcoin though and why it's moving up. But yeah. BioNTech and Bristol Myers announced the first interim data from a global randomized phase 2 trial evaluating one of their bio drugs plus chemo in patients with locally advanced metastatic triple negative breast cancer. CoreWeave priced a 2.25 billion convertible senior notes due 2031 option to purchase additional. Microsoft says it deepens its commitment to Canada. Home Depot reaffirms its guidance and outlook for 2026. Surprised Home Depot's not up more on that, but sorry. Look at this chop we're getting today, man. It's Tuesday. We got the prelim weekly employment numbers for ADP data, just to show you we actually have them here. Again, yields are elevated still. But here is the previous report where it said that the weekly numbers are going to come out. Today's the 9th. We're going to get a weekly prelim estimate by ADP today, 12/9. We got the monthly report last Wednesday. Today we're going to have the weekly numbers here. And the weekly numbers have been weak. Pun intended, I guess. Top 3 best good mornings ever? Yeah, definitely top 3 greatest ever, all time. Again, I don't know how much pay. We have delayed Jolts report at 10 a.m. today as well, right? So the delayed Jolts report, it might move things. I'm not 100% sure. Why are we dropping when we're supposed to get a cut this week? What's dropping? Nasdaq's slightly red, I guess. SPY is green, though. The Dow is green. So Nasdaq flat. SPY is green. Dow is green. Yeah, the labor report that we were supposed to get on Friday has moved to next week. Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to cut 25 basis points. I don't think we're going to do anything outside of that. Yeah. But here's the Dow. Dow is slightly green. A lot of stuff's flat. Bitcoin's pulling back a little bit here. Again, ADP numbers, what I'm showing. Last time the ADP numbers were negative 13.5 thousand. Negative 13.5 thousand. Very weak for the last ADP weekly employment numbers. We did have the monthly report for ADP on Wednesday last week. That showed negative 32,000 jobs. And again, yields have been pushing higher. Even if we're going to cut rates, yields have been pushing higher. Yeah, I mean, right now, if we take a look at what the odds are for January, odds are pretty low for a rate cut in January. If we cut December, which we're probably going to do, it'll bring us down to this one right here, right? And at this point, this is January. It's still almost 70% likely that we're going to pause in January if we cut in December. And so at this point in time, it is very likely that we are going to pause in January if we cut in December. This is always subject to change, though. The end of January is a long way out still. It's almost 2 months away. And so this is obviously subject to change. What could change this? Well, next week we have, if we take a look at the BLS reports, next week we have a new jobs report coming out. We have inflation data coming out as well here. So next week we have Tuesday, December 16th, we got the November jobs report. November jobs report comes out Tuesday, December 16th. We also have CPI inflation data Thursday, December 18th, so next Thursday. So Tuesday we got labor. Thursday we have jobs. Or no, that's backwards. Tuesday we have labor. Thursday we have CPI inflation. And yeah, those are good things that might move the odds of a rate cut in January. You know, so if we get weaker labor numbers, we might have a little bit higher odds of a rate cut at the end of January. If we get higher inflation, we might have a little bit less odds of a rate cut in January. So that's where we're looking now. High inflation. Yeah, I mean, we're going to get inflation. Inflation's inevitable, though. Walmart CEO, speaking of inflation. Walmart CEO Doug McMillon says inflation being low single digits helps a little bit, but it's on years of price inflation in some categories on the CNBC interview. On consumer behavior, he says there's pressure for those at lower income levels. I don't know if it's going to be a hawkish or dovish cut. I got to do a poll right now anyway. We also have Eli Lilly's biodrug significantly improved progression-free survival, reducing the risk of progression or death by 80%. There's ADP's weekly employment numbers show stronger or weaker jobs. Alright, so vote on the poll. The poll is now live. Does ADP's weekly employment report show stronger or weaker jobs? Again, this drops in about 40 minutes. And then later on at 10 a.m. we have the Jolts. The ADP news actually coming today. I mean, according to their schedule. Look, here's their schedule. So they said 12/9. We're going to get a weekly preliminary estimate for labor numbers from ADP. You know, we got the monthly report Wednesday. We got this one, the 25th. We got this one on the 18th of November. And so now we're going into December. We should get this one now. We should get the weekly prelim estimate. Unless ADP has come out saying they're not going to put it out, which I'm pretty sure they haven't. And I'm pretty sure they scheduled it, at the very least. I think they're going to start releasing this. They didn't give an end time to it. They started dropping these reports during the government shutdown. Yeah, they haven't really said they're not doing it. And I would assume they're going to tell us. Yeah, Powell's not going to be doing a 50 basis point cut this meeting. I think that's basically impossible. It's not impossible. It's just really unlikely. Anybody telling you they're going to cut 50, you know, I don't know if they necessarily know what they're talking about. Anthropic and AC and Accenture formed a 3-year partnership to sell AI services to businesses, according to Wall Street Journal. I want to short, but the price action here, guys. Wait, are we even moving? Okay, yeah, we're moving. I didn't even know if this candle was moving here. Look how slow this is. It looks like a short, but maybe the jobs numbers will break us out. I mean, we're ahead of the Fed meeting. We got 2 reports today. And again, we're ahead of the Fed meeting. We got 2 reports today. And so we might get choppiness. Oil prices. Wonder if there's a range to capitalize on in oil. I can't see the cut tomorrow moving anything. Yeah, I mean, I think it's baked in already. But I think what traders then focus on is what Powell says. Right? Looking at our poll, 69% think weaker jobs numbers, 31% think stronger numbers. But yeah, I think people are going to pivot to what Jerome Powell's tone is. Like, is he going to be hawkish, dovish, or neutral? I think he's going to be hawkish or neutral, just based off of history. I think he usually is hawkish or neutral if we cut. But I think he also might acknowledge the weakness in the labor market. And so I think he might talk about how weak the labor market is. He might acknowledge it in that regard. But I think he's still going to be reluctant to commit to further cuts, essentially. And so January is not a certainty. Just like he said, December's not a certainty. So that's my guess. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I don't know. No, Powell doesn't speak today. He speaks tomorrow. Man, the market is so slow, guys. I don't know what I do here. All right. I want a short here. Do I short here, guys? Look, here's oil. Nvidia went up and then went right back down. I'm kind of waiting and trying to be patient here. But again, guys, we got the ADP report going live in about 35 minutes. See what it does, honestly. So China, Iran, and Saudi Arabia are holding a third trilateral meeting today on December 9th. Bitcoin's still up though, but it's down from it. Bitcoin was at about 91,500 yesterday. Yeah, I see they're restricting Nvidia H200 chips despite the approval. Essentially, they're going to have to go, people who buy Nvidia chips are going to have to go through some type of approval process and explain why they chose those chips over domestic chips. So it's going to severely restrict that H200 chip market for Nvidia overseas in China, is the news that we got coming out today. That news came out a little bit earlier, but yeah, I saw that as well. Again, when you look at Nvidia though, Nvidia did dip on this news. So back up to 187s though, went all the way down to 185s. Here's the NASDAQ, is it's starting to break here. Take a look at gold. Here's gold. Gold's elevated on the day, it's over 4220s. China's foreign minister says third-party meeting between, again, China, Iran, and Saudi Arabia is going to be held today. Three sides look forward to expanding cooperation in various fields, including economics and politics. They call for immediate halt to overseas aggression against, yeah. John, I guess market will break all-time highs. So I should have shorted here. I was thinking about shorting, and I think a short made sense, but I think it's a little too late now. Somebody said, hey, John, I guess market will break all-time highs today before taking another down. What do you think? If it will go down, then maybe we can enter in a bear market, a long consolidation phase. I should have shorted here, guys. At least we got something. You have a labor report today, though. Oh, nice. My payout is almost done. Top step, risk improve, compliance improve, finance processing. Send the funds out, so love to see it. Love to see it. Again, the president expects the next Fed chairman to cut rates. He said that whether they cut rates, obviously, I mean, look, the president wants rate cuts. He's going to put somebody in that's going to keep the status quo of what he wants, right? Like that's what he's going to do. I mean, this is very obvious. Obviously, he's going to pick a dovish Fed chairman. That's why he's picking Hassett. That's why he stuck Moran in there. Obviously, they're going to be dovish. I'm not saying I want them to be dovish. I'm just saying that's obviously what's going to happen. And I think that's something that crypto people are betting a lot of stuff on in that context because they understand the next Fed chairman is going to be dovish. Now, remember, Powell steps down in May. And so in May of 2026 is when this is all going to occur. And so we'll see what the Fed does leading into that. You were spot on when you called that 89.5 Bitcoin level. Honestly, I was watching it too. It was kind of weird. Like, I was watching 89,500 at the end of Friday because somebody asked me, hey, where does Bitcoin end the week? And this was when Bitcoin was at like 83s. And I said, I think it ends at like 89.5. And when I looked at it on Friday evening, it was at exactly, like, literally the moment I pulled it up on Google, it was at 89.5. I was kind of freaked out a little bit. But, you know, top 3 greatest predictions ever right there. Maybe we're in a simulation. Do we get a Christmas rally right now, guys? Let me know. You're a wizard, Harry. Definitely top 3 biased ever. Look at this level right here, 650. Should have shorted, man. I was really thinking about shorting right here under this level because we broke underneath it. It took a while. We're under the 200 exponent. Well, I just thought we had a nice little range down to 650, and now we're bouncing like directly off of 650 here. Should have taken it. 32 minutes. Yeah, I'm still in SoFi. I'm probably gonna hold SoFi long. Is my plan. Like, I'm just gonna sit on that long term. So JP Morgan believes that Chinese AI stocks are more affordable than the US stocks and peers, and notes emerging markets are set to benefit from weaker or stable US dollar. I should have shorted, guys. I should have shorted. Sorry, I didn't get enough sleep last night, man. I don't know why, man. It's like I wake up every day, Texas time, like 5:30 a.m. Every day, up at 5:30, right? I tried to go to bed a little bit later. I tried to go to bed at 11 last night, thinking, hey, I'll get up at 6, you know, like 15 minutes before the stream starts. I'll get up, I'll get coffee, I'll have 15 minutes, everything will be fine. Instead, my brain at 5:15 was like, hey, you got to get up. Even though I didn't get enough sleep, my brain's like, yo, you got to wake up now. It's automatic. But yeah, JP Morgan thinks that Chinese AI stocks are more affordable than US peers. But again, the last ADP employment report that we got, we're getting another one in 30 minutes. The last one we got was negative 13.5 thousand jobs. So negative 13.5K jobs for ADP. The last monthly report showed negative 32,000 jobs on Wednesday last week. Apple, UBS reiterated a neutral rating on them. On Apple, analyst David Voigt maintains a neutral rating and a 280 price target on Apple. He noted that the App Store revenue grew about 6% in November, and after 7% and 9% growth in September and October, adjusted for currency, November growth was roughly 5%. So because of that, he has a neutral rating. We also have tax levels hitting record highs, but not in the United States. The U.S. remains a low-tax country. Total U.S. tax revenue held steady at 25.6% of GDP, according to new OECD data. The average tax rate reached around 34.1%. Denmark, France, and Austria led the rankings with revenue above 43% GDP. U.S. consistently ranks near the bottom because it lacks a value-added tax, though its tax share is still higher than countries like Chile, Cambodia, South Korea. Again, JP Morgan seeing AI stocks are more affordable than U.S. peers in China. You guys agree with them? No, JP Morgan's the big. He's they are the big boy in banking, 100%. Even on like the Big Short, the guys like JP Morgan Chase, you know, that's the big one. All right, so we're back up to 664s here. I don't know if I want to short this again, though. Nvidia, still at 187s. Look at these levels, though. I got to stick to them. I don't think Walmart switching to the NASDAQ is really going to have any type of big influence, to be honest, personally. Do you guys think it will? Maybe. I mean, Walmart's up a little bit today. Yeah, but you got to watch what banks do, not what they say. Right? Like sometimes banks will say things to hedge their positions. Right? To get a little bit cheaper options. To get a little bit cheaper, you know, entries. And so you got to watch what banks do, not necessarily what they say. Because what they say is not always, dare I say, the truth. And sometimes they'll just kind of put, hey, Carol. Here. All right. Sorry. I had to schedule something. All right. NASDAQ back up to 664s. Yeah, so JP Morgan says emerging markets to benefit from weaker or stable US dollar. Chinese AI stocks seem more affordable than the US peers. Got any other stuff here? All right, so the president's supposed to give a positive economic speech in Pennsylvania today. Johnson & Johnson submits an application for one of their drugs. Gold is heavily moving higher here. Look at gold. Gold's up to 42.36 right now. Bitcoin's still sitting at 90s. Again, the ADP data comes out in about 25 minutes or so, 25 minutes. What do you think is more influential? JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. I don't know. If we're talking about like BlackRock, Burke, you know, these are a couple different things here. JP Morgan's different than BlackRock. They're both banks, but they're a little different. in terms of what they offer. JP Morgan's more based around consumers. They have all these other branches and do a lot of different things in finance for sure. But JP Morgan also has a consumer sector, or a consumer portion. Same thing with Morgan Stanley, but Morgan Stanley kind of more investments. Goldman Sachs as well. And so it depends on what we're talking about. If we're talking about consumer banking, JP Morgan's the king. If we're talking about investing, you know, I would say like BlackRock, Goldman Sachs. We're talking public companies, Berkshire. But like a falling wedge broke up. Yeah, I don't know what to do with this. At least we're getting some volatility this morning. It's been choppy. Again, the news that tanked Nvidia here, if you take a look at Nvidia, you had this big news come out earlier, essentially saying that Beijing is going to restrict Nvidia H200 chips despite the president's approval. Again, White House Press Secretary Leavitt says the president is going to give a positive economic speech in Pennsylvania today. Yeah, we got ADP data dropping in 20 minutes. We'll see what it looks like. See what it looks like. All right, guys. Christmas rally. Will we get a Santa rally, guys? I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe all season around the corner. Maybe. Is it time to buy Home Depot? I mean, I already bought Home Depot. Home Depot's down. Seems like a cheap time to buy it. I think Home Depot is going to be immune to some of the, you know, online purchases. People don't really want to buy the stuff that you get at Home Depot online. They want to go to the store and buy it. I'm sure people are still going to start buying some of the stuff online, but I think they're going to be more immune than other companies to like obsolescence from Amazon or something like that, you know. Yeah, if we take a look at Japanese bond yields, oof. Don't even let me look at Japanese yields. This is Japanese yields over the last 5 days here. These are Japanese yields. You know, we have the Bank of Japan's interest rate decision, which, you know, yields are getting priced into a hike now. Now we're at 1.96%. Look at the last month in terms of Japanese yields. You can even see the swing on yields just since December started. The last 9 days, they've gone from like 1.83% to 1.96%. So Japanese yields spiking up on higher interest rate sentiment there. Yen carry dynamic unwinding a little bit. Time to buy Netflix. I'm in Netflix. I bought it. The only problem with it, in my opinion, and it's a low chance, but if the deal does not go, if the deal goes through, I think Netflix is obviously going to pop up some. If the deal does not go through, I think Netflix is probably going to fall down. And so if the deal for some reason doesn't work, or you know, Paramount's hostile bid happens, or, you know, that dynamic changes, there can be risks in Netflix. I still like it. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart. I can't guarantee anything. Understand all this stuff on screen, guys. I'm not an investment professional. But it's not risk-free. It's not risk-free for them. We'll see what happens, but there's obviously still some risks. Again, ADP numbers are supposed to drop at 8:15. They had these scheduled. They haven't given us any inclination that they're not going to release their numbers here for ADP. ADP scheduled these numbers. Here's my report. Here it is. ADP scheduled these numbers here. And they said 12/9, we're going to get a weekly prelim estimate. It's going to be on this site, the Main Street macro site. But again, the last few they've been delayed, but they've been keeping schedule here. So if you look at the Main Street macro site, and then you look at the schedule, they've been following the schedule. The last one we got November 25th here, 11/25. The one before that, November 18th here. The one before that, November 11th here. So they've been reporting these on schedule. And then Wednesday we got the monthly report. So today would make this report come out 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. We'll see what happens. I hope they continue to release this for selfish reasons. It gives me more stuff to cover on my stream. They've been a little delayed though. I think you got that backwards. You might be right, Hunter, to be honest, right? Like, the reason investors might not like the Warner Bros. Deal, even though the Warner Bros. Deal is going to encompass a lot of different brands. It's going to include DC, Game of Thrones, and more. So this is basically Netflix buying Game of Thrones. They're buying DC. They're buying all the brands under Warner Bros. And they're going to control a lot. A lot. So I'll put it this way. If Netflix goes down on the deal getting approved, I'm probably buying Netflix just based off of the brands that they will specifically own. Like, there's a lot of, like, we got a new Game of Thrones series coming out in January. We got House of the Dragon season 3 coming out next year. They're going to own a lot of different brands if this deal goes through. And so long term, I think the net effect of that is going to be very positive for Netflix long term. But I think investors, you might be right in terms of investors not liking the cash they're spending on it. A lot of cash to spend. It's going to impact their margin short term, all that stuff. It's going to impact their earnings. So I get it, but I think long term it's still a big win if they get it, if it goes through. Harry Potter, yeah, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, DC. They're going to own a lot of stuff if that deal goes through. Yeah, Paramount did their hostile bid. All cash. They switched it to all cash. Or I think it already was all cash. Yeah, well, the last I heard on that, Doug, is that he's mad about some interview that Paramount let come out or something. So he's kind of mad at Paramount anyway. And so I think there's a higher chance the deal will go through because of that. But I think, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Bro, if Damon's running around Harrenhal again, I'm going to be mad. Like, I get why House of the Dragon did what they did because the end of season 8 got so much heat in terms of rushing things. And so they went completely the other way and they were like, okay, well now for season 3 of House of the Dragon, we're not going to rush it, you know? We're going to take it really slow. But they overcorrected is what they did. You know, you got to have at least some cool stuff happen at the end of a season. And House of Dragon left everybody pretty much unhappy. My daughter didn't even watch the last episode with us. We just gave her cliff notes and she was like, nothing happened. And we were like, nope. Like the series finale, nothing happened. Or the season finale, nothing happened. And we were just like, nope, nothing happened. We've seen a $12 plus move down since it was said that Netflix would buy Warner Bros. Yeah, no, 100%. And I bought the dip. We'll see if it holds. All right, guys, we got ADP jobs in 13 minutes here. 13 minutes for ADP jobs. Again, Levitt says the president's going to give a positive economic speech in Pennsylvania today. Outside of that, we don't have any news coming out right now except for the ADP numbers. And remember, tomorrow we got the Fed meeting. Next week on Thursday, we get CPI. Next week on Tuesday, we get the updated employment report, labor report. Tuesday, December 16th now, so a lot of stuff happening here. John is a karate instructor. I don't have the patience. I just don't. I don't have the patience. Top 3 worst karate practitioner in the world right now. All right, so we're trending back down here. We're at 650s. Yeah, we got 12 minutes, guys. 12 minutes. You know what I'm mad at Paramount for? The Halo series. It could have been great, dude. Could have been great. I don't know what they were thinking. Again, looking at our poll, 62% think ADP's report shows weaker than expected. 38% think stronger. Again, the last number showed up at negative 32,000. No, I'm sorry, negative 13.5 thousand for the weekly report. The last report did show up at negative 32,000. The monthly report we got on Wednesday last week, negative 32,000 jobs on a monthly basis from ADP numbers. And ADP numbers, again, considering they are a processing company, like a payroll processor, they have a lot more accurate data than some of the government data that we get, in my opinion. Historically, that's been the truth, right? Historically, we've seen ADP numbers hold up a little bit better. Like, the government will produce numbers and then they'll revise them later. You know, ADP's numbers are usually a little bit more spot on when they first come out. So the weakness in ADP's numbers, I take a little bit more seriously, just because historically, you know, coming from somebody that covers all of this stuff, and I've been covering it for years, ADP's numbers have been revised less. They've been more accurate. And I think they're, you know, right now they're more relevant, considering we're not really going to get a labor report for the Fed meeting tomorrow. I don't think they're going to move odds. I don't really think they're going to move odds. I think we're too close to the Fed meeting. I think really the FOMC meeting technically is starting today. Like, they're basically, the Fed members are meeting up today to make their decision. And then they're going to announce what they decided to do tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is what's going on. And so I don't think these ADP numbers are really going to matter in regards to the next FOMC decision tomorrow. Because if you look at the schedule, FOMC meetings are 2-day periods. They're on this month, it's the 9th and the 10th, which is today and tomorrow. And so today they're making their decision. I think the ADP numbers will just be kind of like an afterthought. But yeah, markets are choppy and flat. All right, guys, 10 minutes here. 10 minutes. At least we get something. And then we got the Jolts report at 10 o'clock today. Yeah, Jolts report at 10. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. We cover all this stuff live every time. Yeah, live every time we cover this stuff. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. ETH moving over Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, ETH is pumping up this morning. I mean, Bitcoin is slightly green. Bitcoin opened the day at about 90K. It's at about 90,500. So Bitcoin's green. The higher price point as well. Look at this 650 level hold here. So we had this level before any of this price action right here, and we bottomed out right there. I'm watching 664 above us. But Nvidia, again, is the story after Again, China's still going to restrict the sales of Nvidia H200 chips in preference for domestic chips instead, and they're going to go make people go through a process of getting approved to buy the Nvidia H200 chips. They're basically going to ask them why they're not choosing to buy domestic chips instead. This negatively impacted the whole chip market, specifically Nvidia, obviously, because it relates to them. And you can see this big drop that we saw earlier this morning. We've kind of filled half of the gap here, but we're still down net from that news release. Nvidia was up pretty big on the day yesterday, though. So if we take a look at Nvidia here, Nvidia had a very good day yesterday where it rose from 180s all the way up to 190. Only $3 away from that level now. We'll see what this ADP report shows. We still got 8 minutes left. And yeah, outside of that, it's been a little quiet. Wells Fargo CEO says commercial clients are holding back hiring and costs. The CFO, again, Charlie Scharf, said consumer spending continues to be extremely strong. He said Goldman Sachs Financial Service at the Goldman Sachs Financial Services Conference is where he said this. Accenture PLC will also launch new joint offering for CIOS to scale AI-powered software. Apparently, the president graded the current state of U.S. economy A++++++. He walked in the room. He said, "Wow, would you look at that economy? I've never seen an economy this great." Yeah. Again, UBS reiterated a neutral rating on Apple. The graph is following Nvidia's yesterday setup. Yeah, maybe. Nvidia up 2.5% post-market. Yeah, Nvidia made a move yesterday. Up to 190s. Didn't hold, though. Yeah, so again, Nvidia went up yesterday on reports and official comments indicating the U.S. is going to allow Nvidia to export its H200 chips to approved Chinese customers, which is subject to a 25% revenue share to the United States government, easing some of the worries about it. But then again, China came out today, still going to restrict purchases. All right, we got about 1,000 here, guys. We still got 6 minutes, 7 minutes left until this report drops. Accenture announced a massive layoff the other day, so they should be up. Crazy to think people being laid off. Yeah, but people being laid off has always benefited certain stocks in that way, especially over the last few years, because you got to understand it's better margins for the company. I'm not saying I want it to happen. I'm just telling you why some stocks react favorably. And an example of this is Meta. Meta said they're laying off 30% of the metaverse workforce or sector of their business, I should say, which they should do because the metaverse, you know, and Meta did this from it. So why I accidentally draw the errors? Meta did this from it. So again, better margins, you know, better money better spent. There's a lot of reasons. ADP processes and tracks a massive amount of paychecks every week. Yeah, 100%. All right, guys, we got about 5 minutes left. About 5 minutes. Dude, these numbers show. All right, so Microsoft CEO on X said Microsoft is committing $17.5 billion to support the country's AI ambition. Michael Saylor also says all major U.S. banks have contacted him for Bitcoin advice. Imagine if they decrease their AI spending. Does anybody even use Llama? Well, I think Llama is going to be used for a lot of stuff like Meta glasses, AI hardware. I think is where we're going to see Llama start to be used. More stress to the people that stay behind working. Yeah. That's why rate cuts only indirect affect labor. Companies only hire more staff reluctantly. Yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, y'all hit the like button. How late is ADP going to be? I don't know. The last few, they were pretty late. You know, the last few ADP numbers are pretty late. I'm gonna hit this from a couple different sources. Again, the last ones have been pretty late. The last one we got November 18th came out. It was definitely late. Let me see if it says a time. I think it gives us time. Yeah, the last one should have been negative 2,500 jobs. Negative 2,500 jobs. What we saw last time for ADP numbers here. Negative 2,500 jobs. Alright guys, hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're in 2x speed. Again, we do have ADP's prelim employment numbers. Hit the subscribe button as well, guys. We only need about 50 to break 168,000. Yeah, we got about 3 minutes until the ADP report goes live. Higher or lower numbers? Let me know in chat right now. Higher or lower? What do you guys think? I think the market wants good numbers, but will get negative. I mean, the last multiple have been negative. Last time was less negative than the previous time, though. Like, last time we showed up at negative 2,500. I think the time before that we showed up at negative 13,500. And so I think this is the 13,500 report here. Oh, no, it was 11.25 thousand. I don't know where some of these guys are getting the negative 13.5K number here. They might be talking about the monthly report that we got. But I think the monthly report was negative 32,000, so I don't know. And the last one that we got was November 25th, right? Yeah, last Wednesday on the 3rd, we got the weekly numbers. Yeah, okay, so yeah. Last one we got was November 25th. All right, guys, we got 1 minute. 1 minute. I don't know why it says the last one was negative 13.5, unless they revised. But I don't think they did. Alright, guys, yeah, we got about a minute left. I'm trying to make sure that we'll get too warm in here. Alright, guys, we got 1 minute left. Hit the live button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed. We will see what these ADP numbers show today. We'll see what we get for ADP numbers today. I don't know what they're going to be. I don't even know if they're going to be on time. We got multiple different sources up, ready to pull these numbers. We'll see what happens here. We'll get them when they come out. Again, last time, it's saying last time was negative 13.5 thousand. That's not true. Last time was negative 2,500. Is what the last numbers were. All right, this timer's a little bit early. 20 seconds. Again, we'll see how late they are if they publish them. They should publish them. Verify. All right, guys, here we go. Hit the live button next to the play button, put it in 2x speed, and the numbers should be coming out right around now. I don't see anything yet. Waiting here. Let me check my sources. The web server is down. Wow. Come on now. Okay, waiting for the numbers. Everything's down right now, apparently. ADP needs to get better here, bro. Come on now. Like, fix your servers. Alright, it looks like the site's back up. Still don't see anything for these numbers. Okay, so I'm seeing some drops right now. I am seeing some drops. plus 4.75 thousand, plus 4.75 thousand, plus 4.75 thousand is what the numbers showed up as for ADP. Again, plus 4.75K, almost 5K. So a little bit stronger than last time here. Plus 4.75 thousand versus negative 13.5K in the previous report. Again, ADP numbers are out. They showed up at plus 4.75 thousand. All right, so again, stronger than expected labor numbers here. Again, plus 4.75 thousand. So they came out pretty much on time. Not really on time, but close enough to on time. I would look at their site, but it's down right now. But I got the numbers for you, as I do here. But yeah, plus 4.75K for ADP's weekly employment number. So a little bit stronger than expected. I don't think it's strong enough to... I don't think it's strong enough to like help the odds for anything else. But still. Plus 4.75 thousand is what we got. We're still cutting tomorrow. Almost certainly cutting tomorrow. But plus 4.75 thousand versus negative. Again, they keep saying negative 13.5 thousand unless they revise these numbers, which I do not think they did. I showed negative 2,500 on the last report. Negative 2,500. So, yeah, I don't know. But plus 4,750 jobs. Previous was negative 13.5 thousand. Again, the monthly ADP report showed negative 32K versus plus 10,000 estimate. Yeah, so plus 4.75 thousand here, 4.75 thousand. Again, the last one, okay, they did revise the last one. Weird, man. The last one did show negative 13.5K. But again, the ADP numbers are out. Plus 4.75 thousand jobs. Are you guys bullish or bearish on this report? Now, bullish or bearish? Again, 8:30 is coming soon. I don't think we have any reports at 8:30 today. Still very weak. No, it's not good numbers. Like, listen, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they're stronger than people expected. People expected them to be negative. Again, the previous trend was negative 13.5 thousand. The one before that was negative 2,500. The one before that was weak as well. And so these are not good numbers. Only 5,000 jobs added, roughly. Averaging only 5,000 jobs is not very much. It's obviously not very much. It's still not good. You know, but I think still people expected weaker numbers here is what I think. People still expected weaker numbers. Finally, bro, they gave us the report here. Again, plus 4.75 thousand for the 4 weeks ending November 22nd. Private employers added an average of 4,750 jobs. This week's positive number hints at an upswing in the labor market after 4 straight weeks of negative. Pulse estimate. These numbers are prelim and could change. Small businesses, they're called the engine of U.S. growth for a reason. Historically, they've created 2/3 of jobs in the U.S. Even after the shutdown, small employers led the way in hiring, accounting for more than 52%. Smallest employees, those with fewer than 50 on the payroll, account for more than 40% of U.S. employment and 96% of all establishments. You can kind of see small construction businesses, education, and health services. So small businesses are leading the way. The November job losses were broad-based. Super sectors shedding workers. Small sector businesses lost jobs. They lost negative 46,000. And this is what we saw in other reports as well, which is that small businesses did really bad versus like other businesses. Small businesses did the worst in these labor numbers. And this is a trend that we're seeing not just in this report, but we're seeing this trend in everything. Small businesses are the ones that are really struggling. I've even heard people repeat this on the stream, like the small businesses they're seeing are struggling. Yeah, those are rookie numbers. They literally are rookie numbers. The small businesses, you know, they're the rookies, kind of. Are you bullish or bearish on this report, guys? Again, we got the Jolts report later on today. ADP jobs are basically flat. Yeah, we got the Fomc, Jolts later and more. Are you bullish or bearish on this report? I'm going to end this poll. I'm just going to ask, are you bullish or bearish heading into tomorrow's FOMC decision and meeting? You can vote on this poll now. Are you bullish or bearish heading into tomorrow's FOMC? Bull, bear, mostly bulls. President speaks sometime today. I don't know when. What's up, Faye? Yeah. Okay, so Michael Burry just tweeted. Fannie and Freddie, toxic twins, no more. No more. He said recently both news and gossip has picked up. August 1st, Bloomberg reported that the president was meeting with CEOs of the biggest banks to discuss monetizing GSEs. On August 8th, the Wall Street Journal reported sources claiming the valuation of the two would be roughly $500 billion. A couple days later, Bloomberg reported on the plan where treasuries sell 5 to 15% each, totaling $30 billion. I want to just read this full report, but I'm going to stop here. All right, look at the NASDAQ fall, guys. Wow. Do I short this pop? I think so. Although we could get choppiness today, but I think I will short pop. Hey, bud. How you doing today, man? Why not? Hold on. Here. I'm short right now, guys. Yell at me if I'm wrong. All right. Okay, I'm in the short, guys. Yell at me if I'm wrong. My daughter's at the stage now where if I try to give her a hug before school, I usually like give him a kiss on the forehead or like on the head and give him a hug. She's at the stage now where she's like, don't mess up my hair. Yes, this is. Tell her not to mess up my hair. You know? All right. Let's see if this short works. I'm gonna start telling her that every morning. Just look, hey, I'd hug you, but it'd mess up my hair. All right, we're gonna short this pop. We'll take 4 contracts here, see if we come down. I'll reduce my size a little bit here. The data's out. I'm sorry, the data's out. It showed up at plus 4.75 thousand jobs. Guys, you're supposed to yell at me if I lost money in the trade. What happened? I blame you guys for this loss. Do better, guys, okay? Do better. It's small, but I'm still not happy about it. Right, we're gonna reduce our size a little bit more. Hold a little 2 contracts here. Here's the numbers. There's ADP's numbers right there. I'll put them up on the screen. We already got data. ADP number is negative or plus 4.75 thousand jobs. Yeah, I gotta cut this. Oh my gosh, I just added to it. The accidental ad gonna work here, guys? Is the accidental ad gonna work? Will I get punished for accidentally adding double my size here? Top 3 worst trade ever. Luckily, the range is tiny today, so even if we're wrong here, it's going to be pretty small. I believe it's going to go down, though. Leave it. NASDAQ is rebounding a little bit, though. Bitcoin popped all the way back up to 90.7. And I got to cut this. It's okay. Honestly, it's still pretty small. If I didn't fumble management of that trade, I might have added to it here, but I still think it's going to come back down. I just risk manage wise, I'll just wait. I remember when you banned yourself from trading pre-market. See, Faye, I would ban myself from trading pre-market. The problem, though, is that I've actually been pretty good in pre-market trading. Again, Microsoft is going to invest $17.5 billion in India AI over 4-year periods. I would ban myself from trading pre-market, but most of my accounts. Let me show you my stats here. I went over them yesterday. If you didn't see my stats, these are my stats. Okay, I would ban myself, but my numbers have just been too good here. Like, look, here's one account since October, and I should have held it. Look at this. This is one account since October. I've lost the last 2 days, but since October, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losing days out of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 22. 6 out of 22 days we lost. We're green out of we are green out of 15 out of 22 days, which is still very good. Very good. 16. So on a percentage basis, that's one account. Our other account looks like this, where we've only had 3 losses out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18. 3 out of 18 losses. So 15 out of 18 wins. I should have held this too. It would have worked. It would have worked. If I did, like I said, if I didn't botch this trade management, I would have jumped back in short probably up here. So. And here is a different account that we're on. Look at this one. This is probably the best one here. Look at this. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 6, 7, 8, 7. 29. 6 out of 29. 23 out of 29 green trades, green days on this account as well. And then the other account, what does it look like? The other account's kind of hit or miss. Like, the other account's got a hit or miss. Like, we've only been trading it since November, mid-November. We've had 2 losing days out of 6. Still 66% accuracy there, but it could be better. It's not as impressive as the other 3. And we recently put in a withdrawal on one of these accounts yesterday, and that was processed. We're just waiting for it to hit the bank. But my point is, pre-market trading is good for me. It's good for me, guys. Don't talk me out of it. Top 3 best pre-market trader right now. Nvidia is dipping down a little bit, though. It is dragging the market down. And again, I should have held that position. Those are daily. Yeah, those are daily wins and losses. Need to pay the water bill? I should pay the water bill. What's my water bill looking like right now? Take a look. Who's taking the over under? Before I click this button, over under $500 water bill, guys. Over under. Look at the NASDAQ break down here. Nvidia's coming down to 186.30s. Again, we got the Jolts report going live too. Get Nvidia flush. Okay, we're kind of split in terms of the water bill. Let's take a look at what it is. Ooh, the under was correct. My water bill is $446. Good job. All right, NASDAQ's flushing down. I should have shorted, man. I wanted to short. I was short. I took too big of size early and accidentally doubled size a little bit too high up there. So yeah, thank you, GG. I definitely did that. Look at the NASDAQ dip here. Again, this is Nvidia falling down. Wells Fargo CEO says AI is extremely significant in shaping the workforce. Do you have a pool, Shock? I don't see any Nvidia news, to be honest. Not any that I see right now. Again, we had some news earlier. The reason Nvidia was down so much today is because we essentially got news that China's still going to restrict exports. NASDAQ is falling here, though. Look at this. I don't see any breaking news about Nvidia. Yeah, I know. I knew the mistake immediately. I doubled the size. I told people as soon as I exited that I probably would have added to the position where we were if I wasn't too large a size. So that's just a mismanagement on my end, which is okay. That's how it goes. You don't manage every trade perfectly. Anybody that says they do. All right, we are still falling quickly here, guys. Look at this. We're at 25,620s here. 25,620s. We get Nvidia at 186s. Again, Wells Fargo CEO says they bought back about $5 billion in stock this quarter. They expect more severance expenses in fourth quarter, according to the CEO. He did say AI is extremely significant in shaping the workforce. Time to buy the dip? Might be time. I don't know which account. On this. Okay, I'm in the right account. Don't catch a falling knife, they say. If that's right. This is my newest account. I'm going to add one more down to this. Give it a second. Maybe I should have waited for 25,600. Hindsight. But it's alright. I'm gonna give it a second. There we go. We're green. I'm gonna take half off there. Take a little bit more off up here at the top. Look at this trade. And we'll get out the rest there. You'd love to see it. See if 625 rejects it. I don't see a catalyst, to be honest. I think this is just Nvidia making a big move to the downside. I think the range was small on the day, so this is the range of the day widening out a little bit as well. If you guys see a catalyst, let me know. I don't see one, personally. Also, if you want to check out Top Step, no PDT rule on futures. You can day trade the S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, Russell, gold, commodities. Very similar to day trading stocks. No PDT rule on futures. They give you $50, or they give you a 50K demo account, and they test your skill with it. And this is the best way to learn how to day trade, in my opinion. Most day traders lose money. You try to fund your own account, thousands of dollars, you'll probably lose it. They give you 50K demo. If you can make 3K in profit without losing 2K, following their rules, reasonable ratio. You learn how to trade with some risk. $50 is your risk, basically. If you pass it, you get a 50K funded account, 90% split. They recently reduced their activation fee universally, as well as put out a no activation fee option. Just incredibly useful. I'll put the link up. They are a sponsor of mine. I am biased. I get paid by them, but genuinely useful. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. All that good stuff. Here's the link right here. I'll pin it to the top of the chat. You can help support the channel. And I should have held that long a little bit longer, but hindsight's 2020. Yeah, could Jolts numbers showing positive 4.75 thousand? Or no, Jolts report going live at 10 a.m. The ADP numbers showed plus 4.75K. Alright, I might short this. I was gonna short it. I think I kind of missed the first leg down. If we retrace. Add a little bit to it up here. We got a resistance level at 630 as well. One more here and then that's it. Hold through that resistance level maybe. The range is so small in the day, I have to kind of size up a little. Sizing up. It's also the day before FOMC, and we have Jolts today. So there's a chance that we just chop and we're at the bottom of the range. Chop back down. A little bit more worried about this trade now, though, because we're kind of over all the levels I spoke about, and we'd have to get back underneath. Better. To reduce my size flat on this size off. I'm worried it's going to bounce at the initial rejection level I want. Now green. There's the bounce. So I was actually correct. I'll give it a second. It's only 2 micros now. It's very small. Okay, we're green again. Gold's down there. It's struggling to get under this level here. 625. I'm going to cut it. It's mostly a flat trade. I cut one more. I'll hold the last one. Fun. And maybe add to it if it goes back green. But basically a break-even trade. It's struggling at that 625. I was hoping that level would hold it as resistance, but now instead it's bouncing off of it. It still might break underneath it. But I don't like it as much, so I have to kind of reduce my size. Most traders don't know how to short. Yeah, kind of. I mean, shorting, I don't know. I see it from two different sides. I think if we're day trading, swing trading, you know, might be able to find some good shorts. But I think you have to understand, if you're one of those people that like idolizes Michael Burry and watches The Big Short on repeat. I love The Big Short, right? But you also have to understand that the edge in shorting that type of stuff is incredibly low, right? Like if you're shorting the healthiest companies in the world, the longer you hold those short positions, the less likely you are to actually end green. And some people romanticize that type of dynamic so much where they want to be shorters, they want to be skeptical, and I get it. If you're good at it, fine. But most day traders are going to lose doing that. And if you try to short the healthiest assets in the world, you're probably going to lose as well. Okay, my screen is lagging here. Weird. Anybody else's top step down? Weird. Still in this, but this is just strange. Look at Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin tumbling down towards A. Okay, back in it. Now we're green on this last little piece. Markets are different in 2025. They're a little different. But I think Mark Twain, history doesn't repeat itself, but it definitely rhymes. I think that's probably true. Yeah, I'm showing a bad connection. Candlesticks are completely frozen here. Look at this. Weird, man. API is disconnected. Anybody's Top Step X just went down? I want to make sure it's not just me. I don't know what's going on. You guys can hear me, right? We should be good. Okay, they're back. Yeah, I mean, shorts, there's a very common saying in trading. It's longs take the stairs up, shorts take the elevator down. The shorts can move down in a more profound way faster because of the dynamic. All right, now we just got a big squeeze up. I did it again, bro. I added to a losing. Second time I've done that today. I think it was at the worst time too. But some days are just like this. I'm gonna switch accounts. This was my weakest account. All the other ones are pretty green. We're gonna switch to this one. Dude, this song always gets... All right, guys, Bitcoin falling here. Checking up recent news. So Tesla, according to Piper Sandler says they reaffirmed overweight and $500 price target on Tesla. China's Premier Li says we will better leverage roles of fiscal and monetary policies to keep economic growth within a reasonable range. We'll implement more proactive macro policies. We'll adhere to expanding domestic demand. Again, this comes after news that dropped Nvidia this morning is that China's going to restrict access to Nvidia H200 chips despite the president's export approvals here. Home Depot is said they're going to open 15 to 20 stores per year in near term, according to their CEO. Bad jobs help. Yeah, but I mean, the rate decision's tomorrow, so I don't think we're gonna... I don't think they're going to change the rate cut odds. They're meeting today to make the decision for the rates, right? It's a 2-day meeting. They're doing on the 9th today and the 10th. So they're going to make their decision about rates today. I don't think they're going to change that tune. I think they're going to cut rates 25 basis. I think the Fed's going to cut rates 25 basis points, as expected. Jolts is at 10 o'clock. We're going to cover this live. Yeah, give me a follow on x.com at Beginner Trades. We appreciate it. Meta could release a new AI avocado model in Q1, according to CNBC. Hawkish rate cut tomorrow. Yeah, I think so as well. I think it'll be a hawkish or neutral rate cut. But I think they're going to cut, and then they're going to say, hey, we might not cut in January, like they did the last couple times. All right, so we are seeing some pullbacks here. Markets. Still testing that 625 level we've been watching all morning. Powell's hawkish will be a colossal mistake. Market is clearly weakening. Yeah, but I think we're cutting rates, and he's going to say, hey, we're cutting rates, but we're going to be data dependent. But I think that makes sense in terms of what Powell has previously said. I think Powell's going to cut rates 25 basis points, and then he's going to be neutral in his tone. I don't think he's going to give out too much. I think he's going to say, hey, well, cutting rates, but we're going to stay data dependent. Nasdaq's very weak here. Very weak. If we pop back or what happens here. Bitcoin's still coming down. I don't see any news to make it a big push down here. Uh-oh, Jim Cramer said ready to roll with Nvidia, Pepsi, and CVS, all the rest. Oh, no. Oh, no. Jim Cramer. Don't get mad at the shirt, guys. Don't get mad at the shirt. I mean, I'm in the comfort of my home, and it's 7:50 in the morning. What do you want me to put a suit on, guys? I told you I'm never wearing a suit to the stream. If I show up in a suit one day, don't trust me. Yeah, if I'm in a suit one day, do not trust me. Not trustworthy. Happens. I actually like Pepsi. You know, some people hate Pepsi. I don't hate it. I actually like Pepsi. All right, we got Jolts numbers coming out later today. Jolts numbers. Gotta see what Jolts are expecting. Jolts numbers are expected at 7.2 million. Last time they were 7.227 million. So Jolts numbers expected at 7.2 million. Yeah, 7.2 million for Jolts. You guys think Jolts shows up higher or lower? It says Netflix and Paramount are competing for Warner Bros. In two very different ways. Jolts will be higher because seasonal jobs. Jolts will be lower. AI John. Yeah. Like I said, if I show up with a suit one day, don't trust me. I never understood the people that like. I get wanting to look successful, but I think people misinterpret the way actual successful people dress. I'm not even saying I'm successful. I'm just saying people correlate success with a suit. But if you're putting on a suit to sit in front of a camera on stream, what are you really doing? At 625 level, I mean, markets are choppy this morning, but 625 still holding pretty firm here. Nasdaq starting to flush down here too. Meta's shifting AI strategy is causing internal confusion, according to CNBC. Again, Piper Sandler says Powell is likely to signal flexibility ahead of new data. Piper Sandler thinks Jerome Powell is expected to avoid committing to a January decision until economic data arrives. In the 7 weeks between December and January, the BLS will release payrolls for October and December and CPI for November and December, which is next week. Both of these drop next week. Yeah, I mean, it basically thinks Powell's going to be data dependent, and I agree. I think Powell is going to be reluctant to give out outlook in a base case. I think he's not going to say, he did this the last two meetings. He said, hey, we're going to cut rates today, but we're not committing to future cuts. And then the next meeting, okay, hey, we're going to cut today, but we're not committing to future cuts. So no, irrelevant unless required. Watch what they do, not what they say. 100%. What about showing up in a wrestling mask? We talk about impact of tariffs being on time and impact on inflation. As I said previously, in the weakening job market is very concerning. Looking at next numbers, but trend is concerning. All right, guys, it is almost 9 o'clock here. We got the Jolts report at 10. Redbook showed up at 5.7. Previous was 7.6. Where does Bitcoin end this week? Here's the red book that just showed up. Yeah, we got the Jolts report, the delayed Jolts report at 10. I mean, Bitcoin did bounce close to this 90,000 level right here. The Keep Core CEO says the bank's current return on tangible equity at 12% is not acceptable. Nvidia at 186 here, chat. Big pump on Bitcoin, it will dump. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna hate on any streamer. Oh man. MicroStrategy, where's MicroStrategy at right now? 181. Yeah, I mean, MicroStrategy's had a, 450s in July, down to 180s December. Had a tough road here. I mean, Bitcoin has as well, but yeah. I don't know. I think you probably want to understand some of these jobs are shut down. I mean, we look weak in the NASDAQ, but looking for 25,600. I might buy this level if we hit it, but I also got to watch the momentum if we keep pushing down. I don't really want to get stuck in some stuff. Bitcoin back up a little bit. It's at 90.423 thousand. Again, the news is a little light. Bitcoin ain't going to 0.60K, but not true. Negative 2% today is very possible. Yeah, I mean, with the microchip news, I mean, honestly, though, we're hearing things that I know Nvidia went up yesterday on the approval of exporting H200 chips. I get it. But China's already said they're going to have restrictions in terms of people using US chips in preference for, national chips there. And so we already knew this. The news that we got this morning was something that we already knew. It still doesn't mean Nvidia didn't react negatively to it. If you look at Nvidia here, Nvidia did react negatively to this news, even though it was something that most people understood already. Like, I already knew China's going to be restricting Nvidia chips because they're US chips, right? They're going to encourage people from buying. They're going to encourage people buying domestic chips. They're going to discourage people from buying US chips. Why? Because we're a competitor to them, of course. And Nvidia, again, it's down from this report. It rebounded some, it dropped again, and now it's back up some. So we're about right here. We filled about what, about a third of the gap at this point in time, where we're at now. But again, this should be understood already. Most people should understand that they're going to be discouraging people from buying US chips. I mean, I think it's kind of an obvious thing, as well as the fact that we've heard this already. What's up, Tiny? Air market low 60K. NASDAQ Prescott. I'm a Dak fan. Let Dak win. Yeah, I've been trying to tell my daughter to drink coffee black. Because coffee's not bad for you if you don't put a bunch of sugar in. If you don't turn into, like, what you eat first thing in the morning is important. And the first thing you consume being a bunch of sugary dessert like coffee is not good for you at all. So I've been trying to tell my daughter that, like, hey, the bitterness wakes you up. You got to drink it plain. The bitterness wakes you up. It's good for you. All right, we're at 625s right now. 625s. Yeah, news is a little light. We got the Jolts report going live. Again, Jolts report is expected at 7.2 million for October. This is October's report. It's a delayed report. Yeah, but if I put butter and salt in my coffee, it breaks my fast. You can drink plain coffee and it won't break your fast, really. And I usually do intermittent fasting, so like I really, my diet is like, I'll fast until 1 or 2, and then I'll eat whatever I want from like 2 to, and then I'll do it again. So every day I'm getting like a 16 or 17 hour fast in, outside of coffee. My last name's London, so I guess I should be drinking tea. Gonna fit in with stereotypes. But I'm from Louisiana, so I'm not drinking tea. The Fed says the FOMC meeting began as scheduled at 9 a.m. Tuesday. So again, the Federal Reserve is going to be making their decision on rates today. No, I don't eat Taco Bell. I don't eat fast food at all, basically. At all. Unfortunately. The FOMC decision is going to be tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so Key Corp, which is KEY, CEO says the bank's current return on tangible equity at 12% is quote-unquote not acceptable. According to them, not acceptable return for Key. I love community. All right, guys, we got 25 minutes until the opening bell. Again, we are going to be day trading live this morning. We're down a little bit in one account. We haven't really traded outside of that. So yesterday we were green, though. If we can keep the good trades up. Other account. Yeah, we're going to be live day trading. We got the Jolts report at 10 a.m. Jolts report expected at 7.2 million. This is the delayed labor report. I'll drink sweet tea from Cane's. Kind of feel guilty. I'm at the age now where I feel guilty if I have something for me. Again, this is 40 thing is right with what's his face when he eats a cupcake, feels guilty, wife gets mad at him for it. That's basically me. I'm trying better. Yeah, you're talking about the high neighbor on Juicilla. It's not there anymore. Monty. I can't remember what it is now. It's something different. I remember the hot neighbor. I used to go there. But, not there anymore. Mama Pawn. Market doing the open. I'm really not sure. Again, we got the Jolts report and then we got the Fed decision tomorrow. So I think the market could be flat and when I first woke up this morning, the market looked like this. So when I first got up this morning, this was the market right here. And again, we did kind of break out of that, but we continued weakness here. The big news that's shaking the market is that, again, China is going to be restricting H200 chip purchases there in preference for domestic chips instead. Again, this is what tanked Nvidia early this morning, and then it rebounded, and then it came right back down. So, yeah, I mean, we're ahead of a big catalyst tomorrow with the Fomc decision. You know, we also have Jolts report at 10 a.m. today. So we got some stuff coming out. I'm worried the market's going to be flat and boring and choppy. We got 20 minutes into the opening bell, but all right. Yeah, so the Bank of England, some of the Bank of England members are speaking at a Treasury meeting, I think. $15 stone. What does that mean, bro? I honestly, I'm American. Explain to me what 15 stone means. Yeah, I mean, listen. Usually I have a fast metabolism, but I've been injured for 2 months now. And usually I train like jiu-jitsu and run and go on walks and stuff, and that kind of helps me out. But I haven't been able to for 2.5 months. I've been stuck at home. I have been running though at PT. It's getting better. But I was always a hard person. Like, it's hard for me to gain weight. What's the multiple, Raymond, of 15? Sardines? No, I'm not really a big fan of them. I'll eat, like, if they're on a pizza, it's not that I dislike them. Like, if I'm hungry, I'll eat whatever, you know. But they're not a preference. I don't really like them. Yeah, guys, I'm sitting here talking about food because the market's kind of... Again, Nvidia's down. It's dragging the whole market down this morning. Bitcoin's at 90,500. Meta's red. We got the FOMC decision tomorrow. We have Jolts this morning at 10 a.m. It's expected at 9.2 million. And until then, we might not have that much action. Like, the market might keep whipping up and down sideways leading into it. And so I'm not really confident enough because of that dynamic to take any big trades here. I don't really want to mess around if that happens. And again, guys, subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Short gold. I'm not going to short gold almost ever. I don't think shorting gold makes sense. Although gold did just crack under the previous closing price. Gold is technically red on the day now. Again, are you bullish or bearish today, guys? Looking at our poll, 63% are bullish this morning, 63%. Gold just bounced back a little bit. And I want to look at Nvidia. I think my portfolio is red this morning. Let me see. Yeah, we're red this morning. Mostly Home Depot. But we're in Home Depot small. I might actually add a little bit more down here, but I'll probably wait. All right, guys, we got 15 minutes until the market opens. Got a pump leading into Jolts after the opening bell. You think so? I think we might trend sideways personally, but depends on what Nvidia does. I think Nvidia and microchips are leading the way right now, and so I think they're going to influence what happens after the market open, what Nvidia and microchips do. Yeah, I think we're talking too much about food. John's Food Channel. Why'd I get a timeout? I don't understand. Because you're trying to insult me in my shirt, but it's just a muscle shirt. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Like you're being weird. You're obsessing over a shirt. It just seems strange to me. You know? I mean, it's all love. I'll ban you forever if you do it again, but it's all love here. You know. Put them in timeout for 10 seconds. Now sit there and think about what you've done here today, okay? All right. Right, you get a ban. You get a ban, that's right. All right, guys, we got 14 minutes. Again, market's so choppy and boring right now. We got Jolts job openings at 10 o'clock. We'll see what happens. What do you think about Netflix? I think I might buy Netflix. If the deal goes through, I'm going to wait. And what I'm doing, honestly, is I'm going to wait to see if the deal goes through, which might be a while. If the deal goes through, I'll probably buy more of Netflix because Netflix will then own a lot of big brands. They're going to own Game of Thrones, DC, Harry Potter. Those are 3 huge brands. And I think if Netflix is going to be a much more of a powerhouse than they already are if they own those brands. Now, we might get a short-term negative reaction just for margin reasons, debt and margin reasons. But I think if the deal goes through, I'm buying Netflix, probably. Yeah, we got the Jolts report not at 10 a.m. today. 10 a.m. for the Jolts report today. So we'll see what that looks like. I'm already in Netflix. I bought a little bit earlier this week, and I'm still in it. I haven't really sold. It's small, though. It's very small. I'm not going to risk too much. Very small. Speaking of that, Netflix is pushing up a little bit. Gold is completely flat on the day. Netflix up to 97.20s. Again, the big winner of this deal is Warner Bros, obviously. But this is after Paramount put in their hostile bid at, what, $30 a share? What was their hostile bid at? 30? It was at a big premium versus what the Netflix deal was offered at? Yeah, I mean, I think Netflix will be back over at that $100, $108 billion. Yeah, that's what it was. All right, so again, Fed expected to cut 25 basis point Wednesday. Bank of America predicts an extra move. $45 billion in monthly short-term Treasury bill purchases to maintain bank reserves and prevent liquidity issues. They again, they're calling these reserve management purchases, so they're not quantitative easing. They aim to keep the money markets functioning, not stimulate lending. And again, we have the dot plot and the which is the summary of economic projections report, also with this Fed decision tomorrow. So it's a little bit more relevant of a report because we get the dot plot and the summary of economic projections. And that's all relevant and important. And so it might move markets a little bit more. That's one of the things I don't see people talking about as much, is what the summary of economic projections will look like. We have pretty high odds of a rate cut at 25 basis points tomorrow, but we get some other economic projections and where the Fed members are thinking that we're going to go in terms of rate cuts in the economy tomorrow that come with this FOMC decision. And so it's a little bit more relevant than like just a regular FOMC decision. And what I think most people expect Jerome Powell to be data dependent. I'm seeing most banks say the same thing. I think most people expect like a data dependent neutral Powell versus a Powell that like is super hawkish, or definitely I don't think he's going to be dovish at all. He might acknowledge weakness in labor, but I think he's still going to be really reluctant to give out outlook in terms of what they're going to do in January. I think he says he's probably going to say we're going to wait and see. We don't have a labor report to guide this one, so we're going to wait until we get the labor report, the CPI report, which are both next week. Tuesday next week we get the, I don't know if it's the CPI report or the labor report next Tuesday. I think it's the labor report Tuesday, CPI report Thursday is what I think it is next week. So yeah, next week, next Tuesday we get retail sales and the labor report. Last time was 119,000, which I'm skeptical of those numbers. And then Thursday we get CPI inflation. For November, it was 0.3%. Or no. For October it was for September is 0.3% because we didn't get a November report or an October report. Hey, happy B-Day, Corey. Yeah, I hope you make a lot of money. Hey, Corey. Warner Bros. Will reveal the board's recommendation within 10 business days. Yeah, and that's why my size in Netflix is very small, just because there's a lot of variance that could happen there that I don't really, even if you make a lot of money, there's still risk. So it's high risk, high reward holding Netflix with big size right now based off of everything going on. Although again, one of the reasons Warner Bros. Accepted Netflix's deal is because Netflix has a $5.8 billion back out fee. So if Netflix can't get approval because of anti-competition laws, specifically, if Netflix can't get approval to buy up Warner Bros. Like they're trying to do because of anti-competitive laws, they have to pay Warner Bros. $5.8 billion. So even though Warner Bros. Had a higher offer from Paramount, and Netflix's deal was mostly cash and some shares. Paramount's deal was all cash, and they recently upped their deal as well. But the reason they accepted Netflix was because if they fail to get approval for this deal, they got to pay Warner Bros. $5.8 billion, which is a lot. And so that basically hedges it for Warner Bros. And makes it so that no matter what happens, they're going to get paid for this. So it's kind of a hedge. If you want to understand why they went with Netflix versus Paramount, who actually had a higher offer, is because approval is the question mark. And Netflix apparently is so confident that they're going to get that approval that they're willing to pay Warner Bros. $5.8 billion if they don't. And that's kind of the dynamics of the deal here that they have. Again, we're still going to wait and see what they do with Paramount's hostile bid at whatever it was, $108 billion, something crazy. Again, guys, hit the subscribe button. We got 7 minutes until the market opens. 7 minutes. Subscribe. Hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. Let me hit 168K. Pretty close. We'll hit that today or tomorrow. Yeah, we got Jolts job report. 10 o'clock. I mean, that's what they're worried about, Raymond. That's what they're worried about. Tesla thoughts. I like Tesla. I hope it goes up. But it moves up and down such big percentages. You know? I like it. I hope it goes up, though. Yeah, for sure, Doug. 100%. All right, guys. 6 minutes until the opening bell. 6 minutes. We will see what we get today. We got 6 minutes until the bell. Market is down, but not enough to buy safely. Hey, thank you, Mantis. Appreciate it. Yeah, y'all hit the like button. Again, the news has been light ahead of this report. We've had kind of light news today. When does the earnings season start again? What is it? Early January? What is that? What would it be? Q4 for Tesla? Okay, so the last one was in October. Yeah, January is when this would be. We also should have Tesla delivery numbers. But are they going to come out early January as well? This week would be crazy. It is rare for it to be so calm. Not ahead of FOMC decisions. Ahead of FOMC decisions, a lot of the time we have choppiness because people understand the volatility that could come from the meeting itself, and so they, in turn, take less sizable positions. You know, so like ahead of the FOMC meetings, that you can have some easy ranges to attack, like shorting highs and covering lows, and vice versa. I'm not saying they work. Not an investment professional, but it is a strategy you see people use a little bit more often ahead of big economic releases and big reports and stuff like that, just because there's more of a range ahead of those big reports, if that makes sense. Yeah, we got some earnings this week for sure. All right, guys, 4 minutes. Oh, all right. Yeah, here's Warner Bros. Still watching Nvidia. Still watching Netflix as well. Nasdaq's been slowly churning down, but it hasn't been a big range. But we have been breaking lows and stuff. We're too close to the bell for me to trade. Yeah, I gotta wait at least 4 minutes. It's not 5. My rule is 4 minutes. 4 minutes, I think, is long enough to form like a reasonable trend. So like 4 minutes is kind of like the optimal time for me. You guys red or green today? I'm slightly red on the day. I'm a little red. Yeah, I'm slightly red. Flat, red. Home Depot's starting to rebound back up. Almost, you know, it's still a little ways away from green. Down 0.9%, flat, green. Yeah, I see kind of mixed numbers here. I mean, and that makes, with all the stuff going on, it's been a little whippy this morning. It's been kind of choppy, I would say. Greenish. Greenish is always good. Bonds moving up. Look at Netflix here. Hold on, let me see if there's some. Yeah, I don't really see anything. I see Netflix dip here though. Look at this little gap. Weird candle. Tesla just popped up. Look at Tesla here. Nvidia's falling down though. And thank you, Sharp. Appreciate it. Okay, good luck today, guys. Look at Tesla. Nvidia tried to go red. This previous closing price 185, the red to green level 185.50 or so for Nvidia. And here's the opening bell in about a minute. You can hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're in 2x speed. We got the Jolts report at 10 a.m. East today as well. So. Yeah, appreciate it, guys. All right, guys. Tesla at 438s. Nasdaq at 25.6s. Jolts in a half hour. Yeah, that's right. All right, here's the opening bell, guys. Again, put it in 2x speed. Hit the live button. Let's see what we say. We do have Jolts report in about 30 minutes. Yeah, we got Jolts in 30 minutes, guys. We'll see what we get. All right, there's the bell. Again, if the bell's delayed for you, hit the live button, put it in 2x speed. You'll catch up. We got Jolts in 30 minutes in. All right, so Nasdaq's getting some strength here. What I see is Tesla moving up, Nvidia moving down. Tesla's almost filled the whole gap here. But Nvidia is actually red on the day as well, and it's more influential. Look at Nvidia dip, testing this low level here for Nvidia. Nvidia going red. Look at this drop. Testing this low level. Netflix is going red too. Yeah, we got Jolts. Market's red. Deep red here. these drops. It's mostly driven by Nvidia filling some of that gap on the downside now. Netflix is actually right back up here. Is Netflix. So Netflix is actually technically green. Nvidia's still flushing down here though. About 2 minutes in the day. Netflix coming back down. Part of me wants to maybe buy this, but I'm not really confident in this price action, and it's a little too early after the bell for me to take these trades. So, where's Meta at? Meta's down too. Now 3 minutes into the day. Gotta wait another minute here. And again, we got the Jolts report at 10 a.m., so stick around. I'll buy 550 down here. Get it. I need 550 though. This level right here might hold them. Silver's on a generational run and 10-year bond yields are up today. This is insanely telling sign into not optimistic about the future. Yeah, silver and gold. But silver, definitely. Silver's up to almost $60. I should have bought. It just didn't quite fit in my rules. I need to wait 4 minutes. We got 3 minutes and 40 seconds, so I didn't quite get it. Thank you for the donation, though. But I agree. Institutions might not be the most optimistic right now. Ugh, wanted to buy it. Maybe I'll short 600 up here. What's up there? A short. There we go. You get pushed down. Got a little bit. Not gonna add to this yet. We'll see if we go deeper in the green. Go. Add to this half off there, and then got the rest right there. Okay, cool. Yeah, that 600 level. Beautiful rejection right there. Top 3 levels ever. Could have held it a little bit longer, but we're close enough to the bell where I gotta be in and out quick. I would short this. It looks like a short. I need it a little bit higher for me though. Like here. We're back in short. Immediately got a big move down. I'm going to cover it immediately. All right, so far so good. Maybe I can short 600 again, but it's a second test. I don't trust it. Your 600s, I don't trust it. It could reject it again right off of 6, but the problem with a big candle like this is that it can retrace fast. I would buy a dip, but it could just whoop, right back down. And so I don't really want to mess. Yeah, we got the Jolts report at what, 24 minutes? Let me put a timer up for this. The Jolts report is arguably bigger than the ADP report, though. Here's the timer. Silver adds another $1. Yeah, silver. Line up. Short 600s again. I think so. Too neutral right now. Bitcoin back up. Look at it bounce right at 90K. Netflix flushing down a little bit though. Right here, but the upside now that shorts might get squeezed out. Home Depot green on the day now. You'll have to see it. Went from really red to almost green. Or no, we are green. Alright guys, we got Jolts in 20 minutes. Bulls are definitely back in control. I'm trying to see what's rebounding here. It's got to be Google, Apple. Apple's running. It's at 279. I will buy this dip. Hesitant. Buy this dip. Maybe add a little bit down to 60. Green. Take that off immediately. Rest. Bell or what? Calls. I'll hold this and add to it if it goes better. Here. Half off. That off too. Nvidia, see if it rejects at 185. Apple, Nvidia rebounding here. Again, we got the Jolts report 20 minutes. Thanks for being here every day, brother. God bless. Hey, thank you, crypto. Bro. I try. Hassett is speaking right now. I didn't even realize Hassett's speaking right now. He said, would make decision on rates based on my judgment. If the president pressures the Fed on rates to just do the right thing. He said, it is most important for the Fed chair to look at data. He said, asked if room for more than 25 basis points. He said, that's correct. The thing with the president is he makes choice and changes mind. Real wage growth, really impressive, like 1990s. I put Scott Bessent top of the list for running Fed, according to Hassett. Bessent doesn't want the Fed job. There's plenty of room for the Fed to cut rates, but Bessent doesn't want a Fed job. I go wherever the president tells me, Hassett says. Plenty of room for Fed cuts. And then he started saying, if the president pressures the Fed on rates, just do the right thing. I would make the decision on rates based on my judgment. Rate calls would be my judgment, which the president trusts. He said that a lot of Fed behavior has looked political. I think the world of the Fed Vice Chair Jefferson. A little damage control here by Hassett, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely political. Hey, thank you for the donations. I don't know how much this is, but I appreciate it regardless. Yeah, thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Let's see points. What the Fed we're going to get. Yeah, maybe. All right, look at this dip here, chat. Strange dip. Hassett said, my relationship with Powell is, quote, very strong, unquote. I was right to question those saying no need to cut. He said, met with Powell almost regularly in my current role. Yeah, I mean, very choppy open here, guys. Hard to trade while Hassett's speaking. I mean, not really. But at this point, somebody's speaking always. He said, I was right to question those saying there's no need to cut. I think we should cut, tomorrow. I mean, I think that's obvious. We should cut. You know, I think when you look at jobs, it makes sense to cut rates. Now, should we continue to cut into next year? That's a different question. What do you guys think? Should we continue to cut into next year? Should we cut in January? If we cut tomorrow, should we cut again in January? Let me know in chat. Apple coming back down. But again, Hassett's. Yes. What if the Fed doesn't cut rates? Well, I think crypto's gonna fall. You know, we might see some other brash reactions. The low probability likelihood of that happening, but it's not nothing, right? Like, it's not like people are like, oh, we're gonna cut 50 basis points. No, we're not. You know, but somebody saying, hey, we might pause. I still think they're wrong, but it's definitely got a little bit higher odds than like a 50 basis point cut or a rate hike. You know, people say some wild things ahead of these Fed meetings. They say we're going to raise rates. They say we're going to cut 50. Neither of those things are going to happen. There's a small chance that we do pause tomorrow. It's not very likely, but if we do that, markets are going to react brashly to it, especially crypto markets are going to plummet, I think, on that news. Crypto wants evening. It depends on what else they do and say, but yeah, I would say, I don't know if it's a bearish cut. Hassett said underlying GDP growth is way north of 3%, maybe 4% plus. Looking at productivity growth now at, say, 3%, he says. So, the labor growth is quote unquote little smaller than it has been. Should have short. Shorting either way tomorrow, even if he cuts, Bitcoin might pump 3 to 4%, then back to the crapper, same another day. Yeah, maybe. All right, guys, we got Jolts. 10 minutes. 15 minutes. Looks like Peter Schiff also thinks it's a mistake to cut, that we should actually be increasing like or keeping inflation really down. I mean, I get it, right? But I think raising rates would be kind of crazy to do right now, considering the labor market. You know, you don't want to be more restrictive with weak labor, and at a certain point, the labor market becomes a priority. You know, and so I don't necessarily agree with Peter Schiff. I agree inflation's a risk. I don't like inflation either. I'm self-employed, right? So like my wages don't get raised with inflation. But it doesn't mean we shouldn't cut rates. It doesn't mean we should raise rates. Yeah, weaker data. We'll see. Again, Jolts job report expected at 7.2 million. Or no, it's 9.2 million, isn't it? Hold on. I get this right before I talk about it. Yeah, it's expected at 7.2. Is that right? Yeah, 7.2. Not 9.2. 9.2. 7.2. Previous was 7.22 million, I think. Yeah, 7.2. All right, guys, we got the Jolts job opening report going live very soon. 12 minutes. Nvidia's starting to fight its way back up. It's almost to the VWAP, though. I'm going to risk a short here. It's kind of a risky short, but that's all right. We're at the top of the range. We'll see if we get chop. Here we go. Don't bounce at 625s. I'm going to add to this here. Flush back down. There we go. Cut it right there. All right, we got a nice little grind up here, though. We got a cushion. Again, Hassett still speaking. He said shutdowns have a lot of effects. So data got sentiment collapsing in normal way of shutdowns. Again, he said underlying GDP growth was way north of 3%, maybe 4% plus. The short thesis was right. All right, so we did bounce at 25.6s here. Again, we're very flat at the opening bell. Again, we got Jolts. It's the day before the Fomc. So, kind of whipping back and forth here, I would say. So we're bouncing bouncing at 25.6s here. It's hard to trade this. We have 11 minutes until the Jolts report goes live. But see what we get. I think the only thing to really do, like, when this happens is to kind of hack the range. Again, not an investment professional. Check out Top Step if you haven't already. No PDT roll in futures. Great way to learn how to day trade when most day traders lose. I mean, it just makes sense to limit your risk when you're learning how to day trade. I lost thousands when I first got started, so cheaper way to learn. They recently reduced their activation fees all around, and they gave you a no activation fee option. Hassan's still speaking. He says the president will lay out the facts on the economy today in his economic speech that they talked about. Again, if you want to check out Top Step, beautiful way to help support the channel. They are a sponsor of mine. I am biased because I get paid by them. Again, I'll put up the link if you want to help support the channel. Also pinned at the top of the chat. But here's the link right here. Again, Jolts, 10 minutes, guys. 10 minutes. Less than 10 minutes, really. Jolts a higher number. No, higher number means more jobs. So it depends on what the market wants. Or it means like more businesses expanding. Yeah, so like higher Jolts job openings means like demand is stronger than expected, which is generally good for workers, can be inflationary. So you want to see a higher Jolts number as strength or weakness in labor. So higher Jolts is stronger labor, lower Jolts is weaker labor is basically what it is. So it's basically like another jobs report. Higher is good for labor, lower is bad. Lower is better for rate cuts, higher is better for economic growth. Very flat ahead of this report. And again, this is the Jolts report that we get is for October. So it's a little delayed. But again, Hassan's still speaking. He said AI will turn out to be a good thing like computers. AI, I don't anticipate mass job losses from AI. All right, go. Jolts report 8 minutes here, chat. 7 minutes, really. Hit the live button next to the play button. Catch up. See what we get. All right, here we go. We have 7 minutes left. Yeah, hit the like button. Hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. What happens if we get jolts as expected? I mean, that's essentially a neutral reading. You can look at the previous one to maybe gauge direction here, but an as expected number at 7.2 million is essentially a neutral. All right, so Hassett said U.S.-China's imports at pre-WTO levels in a striking move. Again, U.S.'s China imports are at pre-WTO levels. Yes. Again, he said, I don't anticipate massive job losses from AI. Do you guys expect massive job losses from AI? Let me know. Hold on. All right, guys, 6 minutes. All right. Yeah, I mean, the Fed's independent, right? But you also have to understand they're appointed by the president. And so they're about as independent as they can be. You know what I mean? But they are appointed by the president. And so you can only be so independent if you're appointed by the president, you know? All right, guys, Jolts in 5 minutes. 5 minutes for Jolts. Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be losses and gains from AI. But I think initially there's obviously going to be a net effect of losses just because AI replaces a lot of the things that humans do. I mean, this is just objectively true. So. Manual labor. Yeah, I mean, you're pretty safe with manual labor. Although pretty soon they're going to have AI machines that cut the wood and build things automatically. You know, you might have AI robots that do it. It's going to be a much longer ways out, though. Nasdaq's still very flat, very choppy. Hey, thank you, Nas. Appreciate it. There. All right, Jolts in about 3.5 minutes. There'll be a reconciliation bill next year. Hassett says there's more fiscal room to do stimulative things now. We might get 400 billion in tariff revenue this year. Sideways markets here, guys. Let's see what the Jolt shows up as in 3 minutes. 3 minutes for Jolts. And your treasury down from where it was earlier at 4.15% now. Netflix now back green on the day here too. Again, 3 minutes until Jolts comes out. Three minutes. NASDAQ very flat here, chat. Not doing anything. It's 7.2 million last time, or is expected. 7.2. All right, guys. Jolt drops at about a minute and a half. About a minute and a half. Ugh, dude, my nose is stopped up every time I wake up. I don't know why. Acid reflux, I guess. But here we go. All right, we got all the sources we can for the Jolts job report up. $7.22 million is expected. 7.22 million. 7.2 million, actually. All right, guys, less than a minute. Hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. Again, put it in 2x speed. Hit the live button. Market is very muted ahead of this report. Timer's a little bit early. We actually have about 35 seconds left. All right, 20 seconds. Again, hit the live button next to the play button. Put it in 2x speed. 7.2 million expected. Previous was 7.227 million. And we will see what we get today. Here we go. About 5 seconds. 7.2 million expected here today, chat. And here's the report. Waiting on the numbers here. 7.2 million expected. No reaction yet. Still waiting on these numbers. I still don't see anything yet. Check a different source. $7.67 million, stronger than expected. 7.67 million. 7.67 million versus 7.2 million expected. Again, 7.67 million, stronger than expected. 7.67 million versus 7.2 million expected. 7.227 million previously, so stronger than expected Jolts numbers here. 7.67 million. So we'll see what happens. Oh my gosh, the 6-7 number showing up in chat. Again, better than expected, stronger than expected. So we had, you know, a positive number for ADP numbers. Again, 7.67 million for jobs. We look at the Jolts report. Again, here's the report right here. His job openings were a little unchanged. 7.77 million in October. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics over the month, both hires and total separations were a little changed to 5.1 million within separations. Both quits 2.9 and layoffs discharges 1.9 for a little change. Again, 7.67, 7.7 million basically is what we got for this number. So market didn't really react. Bitcoin went up though on this report. 91,000 almost here for Bitcoin. Again, Jolts are out. 7.67 versus 7.2 expected, so stronger. Bitcoin popped. A cut's still likely tomorrow. We're still going to cut rates tomorrow. I mean, even with these are basically flat numbers for Jolts, right? Although we are seeing yields spike on this report. Look at yields. We are seeing yields spike on this report. It's still likely that we're going to cut rates tomorrow, though. I don't think this is going to change the tune. Really, they're making the decision about rate cuts today, and the odds are still 89%. But listen, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Again, check out Top Step. You want to help support the channel. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. We appreciate the love. Thanks so much. I appreciate you guys choosing to watch your economic data here. Tomorrow is the FOMC decision. And so be ready then, guys. Be ready then. Again, if you want to check out Top Step, I'll put the link up one more time. It's a sponsor of mine. A great way to help support the channel. No PDT in futures. Great way to learn. You're risking $50 for the base when you learn how to trade with some risk versus thousands of risk funding your own account most of the time. So it just makes sense. They recently lowered their activation fees. Gave you a no activation fee option. If you want to check them out, there's the link. And yeah, I'm going to get out of here, guys. Y'all be good. Again, yields spiking up a little bit. NASDAQ is up a little bit as well on this Jolts report. Again, 7.67 million, what we showed up as. So, yeah, strong, a little bit stronger than expected. Not crazy strong, but like a little bit stronger than expected, which is good, you know, for the labor market. But again, I'm going to bow out of here, guys. Y'all be good. Again, tomorrow's the FOMC decision. Y'all be careful. Be ready. I'll see you guys later. I got some stuff I got to do today. Y'all be good. Have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.